Welcome back to We Need to Talk. Today we are predicting the Champions League. Now, of course, the Champions League draw for this year took place last night. I've got it up in front of me here. There are some particularly tasty groups, in my opinion. For fans that travel to games, I would say Group A is pretty much spectacular. Liverpool, Ajax, Napoli and Rangers. Those are some unbelievable away days. For fans that watch it on TV and just want hot quality, the group of death is surely Group C. Bayern, Barca, Inter. And if you're a fan of Victoria Plzen, you're buzzing. Because you're not going to win the bloody competition. You may as well play the world's best. A couple of other notable draws then. I think Manchester City got a very, very comfortable group, as they usually seem to. Always seem to get drawn against Borussia Dortmund at some stage in this bloody competition. And I also think that Real Madrid got quite a favourable draw. That fixture, Real Madrid versus Celtic, that's a cracker. So today I thought I'd keep it very, very simple and do some predictions for the tournament. And do my winner, my runner-up, my top scorer, best player, biggest flop, breakthrough and golden oldie, also known as an old age pensioner. We'll start with my winner, and that's right, I'm predicting them to get the job done. I think Manchester City win this year's Champions League. The group is very, very comfortable, and I think they're definitely going to top that. I just think Manchester City's squad, with the additions of Erling Haaland and Calvin Phillips, is unbelievably deep. So much deeper than every other squad in Europe at this stage. Of course, 2020, 2021, they got to the final of the Champions League, collapsed against Chelsea. I don't know what Pep was thinking tactically in that game. Last season, went to the semi-finals, of course, falling at the Real Madrid hurdle, although they should have beaten Real Madrid there as well. This season, with the addition of Erling Haaland, I believe he's been bought in pretty much solely for those big game moments. Because yes, he's going to score goals domestically in the Premier League, but Manchester City are already getting 95, 100 points in the Premier League. They're already scoring 5 goals every single game against normal opposition. They're an incredible, dominating side. But with Erling Haaland in the big games, in knockout ties, when they're missing those 5-yard tap-ins, Raheem Sterling scratching it past the post, I think Erling Haaland will be there to deliver the goods, score the goals, and that's the reason I think Man City get over the line. I think Man City get over the line, Pep Guardiola wins the Champions League, and then we'll have to see whether or not he renews his contract again, because that'll be pretty much all bases ticked off at that stage. Now, my runner-up was a difficult one to choose here. I wasn't too convinced about any of the other sides in the competition. I think Chelsea, obviously very good in knockout ties. Very good in knockout ties, but I still believe they're missing a true goal scorer up front in the style of, you know, how Karim Benzema carried Real Madrid to that tournament last year, how I believe Erling Haaland will carry Manchester City to it this year. So chose not to go with Chelsea. Barcelona and Bayern obviously being drawn in the same group is very interesting. Bayern Munich obviously start the season sensationally well, wiping the floor with the Bundesliga. But then they generally do that every year. And without Robert Lewandowski, I have slight concerns about their goal-scoring department as well. For Barcelona, they've added Lewandowski. But as a unit, when I watched them, I still think they look a bit disjointed, a bit sus. Then you've got Liverpool and you've got Paris Saint-Germain. Now, Liverpool have started the season really, really poorly. I do still believe they're going to finish second. I think they'll pick up speed around Christmas. They'll be absolutely fine. But without Sadio Mane, do they have that real cutting edge? I think it might take them another year to form yet another great Liverpool side. So I'm not putting them quite as runners-up. I think Liverpool probably still get around that sort of semi-final level. And then, of course, PSG, the great question mark that is PSG. Because one half of me does think PSG are going to go really deep, that Gautier has formed a team. We see him blowing sides apart in Ligue 1. But the other half of my brain says they aren't a team. They still have problems uniting. Look at Mbappe when he's not being fed through. He's throwing his hands up in the air. He's walking off. Are that front three going to press coherently with the midfield behind them against the real elite? It's all well and good not bothering and not pressing against, you know, Lille or Nantes. But when you're playing Manchester City or you're playing Liverpool, it becomes a totally different ball game. So I still don't think PSG do it, which leaves me with Real Madrid. They're back again. So yeah, I'm going to put them as my runners-up. There's something about Real Madrid and this competition. I know they've lost Casemiro, and that is going to be a huge blow for them in the short term because he's such a vital component to the team. But I still believe Karim Benzema is going to be one of the best players in the tournament. I still believe he's going to score a bucket load of goals. They've got one of the most exciting young midfields in the world with Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Fede Valverde. Add into that the fact that, Alaba is another year into this side, another year comfortable. They've still got one of the world's best goalkeepers in Courtois, and I see no world in which they don't go deep. They will go deep in the competition, and they just seem to find a way. I thought Camavinga was crucial in last year's tournament when he came on and had impact off the bench, and I think it'll be the same with Tchouaméni this year. So I'm going for a Man City versus Real Madrid final with Manchester City coming out on top just, although if Madrid get to a final, who discounts them? Who discounts them? Only a madman. I've just called myself mad there. Moving on to my top goal scorer, then look. There's some very, very solid strikers across Europe this season that are definitely going to bag a hatful in the Champions League. But I was just looking at the group stage draw, really, from where I'm basing this opinions on and who I think is going to go deep. That's why I was very, very close to saying Erling Haaland. I think they've got the easiest draw. I think him going back to Dortmund kind of suits him. And I think he will score a lot of goals in the group stage against the likes of Copenhagen. But I've settled on Karim Benzema because I still believe that group is very comfortable. Leipzig not looking good this season. We know the problems with Tedesco. Shakhtar are going to be up for it because they are going to be playing in slightly odd locations, but I think they are going to get blitzed by Real Madrid. And Celtic, it's going to be an epic encounter, but they're going to get blown away by Madrid as well. So I think Benzema scores a lot of group goals. Haaland scores a lot of group goals. I was thinking Mo Salah, but I think that group is slightly tougher. The same is going to go for the reason I haven't picked Robert Lewandowski. Even if they go deep, I don't think he scores as many goals as the others in the group stage just because of how tough that group is. So I'm going to stick between Haaland and Karim Benzema, and I'm going to side with Karim Benzema. My thought process behind not picking Messi, Mbappe and Neymar is that I think the goals are more likely to be shared across the front three there. I don't see one player just being the standout frontman goal scorer. So I'm going to go with Benzema, but I think Haaland could push him very close. As for the best player, I'm going for another Manchester City player. I'm going for Kevin De Bruyne. I think he started the season brilliantly, and the connection between him and Haaland already looks scary. When he plays the ball in behind and you see Haaland make that early dart, it's so dangerous. The ball against Newcastle to Bernardo Silva. What the hell was that? What the hell was that, man? He's so good. And I think Man City are going to win it, and Kevin De Bruyne is going to take home the Best Player award. Okay, biggest flop then. Now, I was tempted to go PSG. I was tempted. That side of my brain still kicking up a fuss about, some of the attitudes and egos going on there. But no, I'm going Tottenham. Now, I really, really like Antonio Conte, and I think he's done a brilliant job with this Tottenham squad. But I saw people on my Twitter yesterday saying they think Tottenham could win it under Conte. Just like I've seen people saying Tottenham could finish ahead of Liverpool in their Premier League predictions. I'm not having it. I think they're going to be a very good domestic side over the course of a season, but I'm unconvinced about them in knockout cup competitions. Antonio Conte has a honking record in the Champions League. I think it's 12 wins, 11 draws, 11 losses. The furthest he's ever got in the competition was the quarterfinals, and they lost 4-0, that Juventus side. So I'm massively unconvinced about this idea that they could go deep in the competition, potentially get to a final. They've got a really good forward line, and Harry Kane is going to be a fantastic player. We've seen him do it in the Champions League before. But I just don't believe the defence is there to win the Champions League at this level. And people will be screaming, well, they can do it in one-offs. Look at how they played against Man City last season, blah, blah, blah. They can do it in one-offs, but you've got to do it more than just one-off in the Champions League, which is why I've always felt Antonio Conte struggles in the competition. I just don't see them doing well. The group is a piece of piss as well. They've got a shockingly easy group, and if they don't get, for some weird reason, they don't get out of the group, or they finish second and crash out of the round of 16, for me, that's a major flop, given that people are saying, oh, they could go deep. They could finish second in the Prem. relax a little bit. Moving on then to breakthrough player, and I toyed between two names really here. I couldn't split them. It was between Aurelien Tchouameni, who I think is going to have a sensational season at Real Madrid, especially given that Casemiro has moved on. I expect him to occupy that defensive midfield position and add something completely different to that Real Madrid side in terms of ball carrying ability and athleticism. So I'm excited to see his breakthrough campaign at Real Madrid. But I'm instead going to go for Pedri, who is still... How is he still only 19? Every time I watch Barcelona, he is literally head and shoulder, like so much better than anybody else on the pitch. He's such a freakishly talented player. Now, obviously, they've got Lewandowski as well, so you could argue he's probably a better all-round player right now. But when you watch Barcelona, it's like it's Pedri and the rest. It's Pedri and the gang. He's so good, and the group they're in is so tough with Bayern and Inter and Pulsen, that if he excels to the level I think he will, he's just going to stand out to an obscene level. So for me, I'm going to go Pedri, but it was close between him and Tchouameni. All right, I'll finish with Golden Oldie very quickly then. Struggling to come up with some names here for this one, but just because I think Real Madrid are going to go deep, and he's now 36 and somehow still kicking about, getting minutes, I'm going to go for Luka Modric. I think him, Casemiro and Toni Kroos now starting to fade off. We've seen Casemiro come to United. I thought Toni Kroos took a real step back last year. I actually thought they looked an awful lot better when Camavinga was on the pitch during the latter stages of the tournament last year. But Luka Modric was still very, very solid, and I believe he'll be very solid again this year. I still think they're going to go deep, as I said earlier, finishing as the runners-up, and if that happens, Modric is going to play at least 80% of the minutes. I don't see a midfield three of Tchouameni, Camavinga, Fede happening quite yet. I think it'll probably still be Modric, still be Kroos, and then one of Camavinga or Tchouameni in that midfield three. Then maybe they'll push Fede Valverde out wide like we saw in the final. That's going to be classic Ancelotti, and if that happens, then Modric is going to have played a major part in yet another deep Champions League run for Real Madrid. Hence, Golden Oldie. Bit obvious, but this is the Champions League. I can't say some small club's reserve striker, can I? Go on, Luka. All right, those were my predictions for this year's Champions League. Obviously, no Manchester United in it. Brilliant. Never mind. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, go and watch plenty of our other content that's on screen now. Goodbye.